welcome to the Next News Network. Another late night here in the studio. You're joining us. We're on X at Next News as well as Trump Daily Post. And we are on YouTube, our flagship channel, where we've been since 2012. Yeah, we launched that channel 2012. And we're also at, and my cable is hanging over here. We've got to move you back here. All right. So, yeah. Okay, there we go. Where was I? Yeah, we're about to do our White House rundown. We got the news for you today. Looks like Adam Schiff is back. We've also got, there's some bizarre behavior over on MSNBC, and we got some information on the seat of the late Senator Lindsey Graham. Some developments there. So we'll be bringing you that news. And of course, with our White House rundown is where we will begin. So I hope you've got your popcorn or your coffee or your bourbon or your cigar or your cigarettes, whatever it is, because we're about to get started. So smoke if you got them. Where do we start, Brian? White House rundown, here we go. I'm Gary Franchi, Chief White House Correspondent for the Next News Network, and here's everything that came out of the White House in the last 24 hours, brought to you with our streaming partner, Trump Daily Post. President Trump flew to Geneva, Ohio tonight, stepped off Air Force One into pouring rain, and walked into a stadium full of American kids competing for the country's 250th birthday. He also killed Medicaid funding for gender transition surgeries and hormones on minors. And he told Iran that if they want to talk compensation, they can start writing checks for our dead. And so here's the day. From the morning's pool report, White House advisor Peter Navarro walked past the press desk and told reporters he'd take questions outside at 10:30 this morning, and he did for 25 minutes. Navarro used it to push his New York Post piece on the newly released documents about how the Russia investigation actually started. He praised Senator Chuck Grassley's committee work, demanded subpoenas go out now, and openly ripped Congressman Jim Jordan for what he called a weak effort on the House Judiciary Committee on election fraud and weaponization. He took the economy and he took questions on the economy and India trade, and he passed on the rest. Now, the White House did call a lunch lid today until about 1:10. Sebastian Gorka was booked for a 12:30 gaggle at the Sticks, and he did his TV hit, but kept on walking, no questions. By early afternoon, the traveling pool cleared security at Joint Base Andrews for the flight to Geneva, Ohio, and the Patriot Games, the national youth competition run by Freedom 250. At 3:30, the in-town pool got the call to gather at the Ellipse. The motorcade rolled in at 3:25, and President Trump boarded Marine One moments later and then lifted off with a second helicopter alongside. At Andrews, he stepped off, gave a fist bump to the crowd, and boarded Air Force One. At 3:46, with Susie Wiles, Caroline Leavitt, Margot Martin, and Natalie Harp. Wheels up, 3:56. Wheels down in Cleveland, 4:45. This was the press pool's first ride on the Qatari Bridge aircraft, and the pool spent the flight describing seats that recline flat, refrigerated compartments, and an aisle roughly double the old one, with every screen tuned to Fox News. And then the moment at 4:59 on the nose, driving rain, heavy wind, and standing out in it with no jacket, in a black T-shirt and a backward hat, ESPN's Pat McAfee waiting to greet the president. A couple hundred supporters stood in that weather and cheered, and the press pool huddled under the wing. Marine One sat down next to Spire Academy at about 5:29. And President Trump was off 5:31 into the Beast. That's right. Inside the indoor practice field, red, white, and blue stages, the presidential seal, and a scoreboard frozen at 47-45. The clock was reading 2026, and 121 athletes entered through flames in America-themed jerseys with medals already around their necks, seated around the president. In a White House release timed to the visit, America First means Ohio First. Working families' tax cuts deliver $3.4 billion in overtime deductions to Ohioans. Zero federal tax on Social Security for 1.4 million seniors, 208,000 jobs protected, 37 billion in state GDP preserved. Statewide homicides fell 16.1%. And Electra is putting $850 million into Springfield. Stellantis, $400 million into Toledo. And nationally, the Major Cities Chiefs Association mid-year report has homicides down 17.2%, nearly 4,200 fewer violent crimes in just 6 months. Washington, D.C., their own numbers, 43.9%. Memphis, 43.7%. New Orleans, nearly 25%. Analysts now say the murder rate is tracking towards the lowest, ready for this, in 126 years. One day, Ohio numbers, the country's crime numbers, and a president standing in the rain with 120 American kids. And that's your White House rundown. Now let's get into the rest of what's moving today and welcome you to the program on this late evening. It's Tuesday night. Great to see you guys. Hey, what's up? TDP in the house, Trump Daily Post. What's up? What's up? We got AKA and F&A Ranger, the Rumble bot, always lurking in the background, waiting for somebody to chat with. James here. We're for Jesus. What's up? We're all for Jesus. Mary B. Crabtree in the house. Great to see everybody. Make sure you've got all your shares out of the way now and all your comments in queue because we got some news we're going to jump into right now. Because, old pencil neck, watermelon head, he's back, guys. He's back. And he is waiting. You know what he's waiting for? He's waiting for us to lose the midterms. That's what it is. Because if we lose the midterms, Adam Schiff is back in the driver's seat, guys. Do you want to have, what, 2 years of that? 2 more years of Russia? 2 more years of attacking the Trump family and every single member of the administration, throwing them behind bars? Is that what you want? You want more impeachment proceedings? You want to see America first die? Well, then just stay home. Don't vote. Let America die. Let this republic just crumble to ashes. Because that's what will happen if we lose the midterms. I know a lot of people like to sit out the midterms and it's kind of like, we're already in the driver's seat. And guess what? We may be in the driver's seat. But what happens if they go ahead and start stealing more elections? Oh yeah, we'll be thrown out right on the road and they will run us over with our own car. That's what will happen. Okay? So I want to be very clear. So make sure you are ready, you're voting, you're going to the primaries, you're doing all the things. You've got your candidate, you picked them out, you vetted them, and you're ready to win. We have to build an army so that we can preserve all the things I just told you about and what just happened in Ohio. You want more of that? Make sure you get out and vote for the candidate of your choosing. Make sure they don't have a D next to their name. The D, what does it stand for? It stands for dumbass. Okay. Am I a little off tonight? No, we're on fire tonight, guys. Because it is 11:07 Eastern and we have a show to do. So I want to make sure you guys get it together for this country. If you haven't joined the Signal Corps yet, make sure you do. I'll put that number on the screen real quick for you. That's 844-840-4963. Enlist in the Signal Corps. Because we have a country to save, folks. We have a country to save. And there's exclusive content. If you join, it doesn't cost anything. It actually costs me money to run it. But it's a great way to challenge yourself, to be active, not just a passive viewer. People always say, what am I going to do? Well, there's nothing I can do. All you do is talk, Franchi. All you do is just run your mouth. Well, no. I'm firing truth bombs from my lips. That's what I'm doing. And you guys got to pick them up and detonate them. And that's exactly what the Signal Corps is all about. You get missions, briefings. The briefings are probably the coolest, I think, thing that I've come up with. The briefings on every single report that comes out, shareable, contextual, and even has more information than I can even present in a segment itself. But it's all there in black and white. The next news, intelligence assessment, even the presidential daily briefing. We publish our own version of that. It's exclusive. So like when I do my White House rundown, like you just heard, there's only so much I can fit into that segment. But that White House briefing becomes an exclusive, so you get to see what I see. You get to see the full details structured in a way that reads like a presidential daily briefing. Okay? And that's the cool part about it. It's epic because, again, I only have so many minutes to squeeze in so much information, but in a document that's formatted, you have the ability to read it, and then you can share it. That's the best part. And each Signal Corps member, every recruit, that specific document, that briefing, that intelligence assessment is branded to your call sign. So it belongs to you. It was manufactured and created for you specifically. So when you share it, people will read it and they'll see your name at the bottom, your call sign at the bottom. And even you get points on the leaderboard for doing so. The whole point system, leaderboard, all that. We haven't quite figured out exactly how, if there's going to be some level of redeemability. We've talked about merch and those types of things. When people reach certain levels, we have to figure out the mechanisms, logistics, and legality of that. But, you know, these are things that we're floating. So start racking up the points and win for this country, guys. Okay, we got to get into this story. Enough of my housekeeping talk here, and I'm glad you guys are here. So let's get at it, Brian. Don Jr., Eric, Jared Kushner, Adam Schiff just floated subpoenas for all of them on C-SPAN. His words, very possible and very likely. So I had to rewind it. 5 years of collusion promises from this man. And he's already drawing up a new target list. And what he called the Republicans who tried to shield him on January 6th, wait till you listen for yourself. $1.76 billion. Schiff calls it a slush fund for cop beaters. He wants a Democrat House to investigate it. And that's his agenda. It's not your grocery bill. It's not the border. It's a target list with your president's children on it. And notice the tell in his own words. Quote, given the nature of what's been alleged. Alleged by who, Adam? By you. So stay with me because I'm going to roll the clip where he torches Todd Blanche by name and the January 6th line that tells you exactly who this man is. And now a bulletin the networks won't run tonight. Enrollment season is closing in and millions of seniors are overpaying for Medicare, locked into plans that stopped fitting them years ago. Big insurance profits on that very confusion. The mailers, the robocalls, the fine print, that is not an accident, Patriots. That's the model. Now here's the part that they cut for time. There's a newsroom for your Medicare, and it's called Chapter. Independent Medicare advisors. The only advisors comparing every plan nationwide. Chapter reviews your doctors, your prescriptions, then reports back what actually works for you. If you're already on the best plan, Chapter will confirm. That's right. Straight up. If you're not, they'll tell you switch plans. One call, under 20 minutes, costs you nothing. That number is on your screen, 910-728-4109. So while Schiff builds his target list, build yours. Investigate your own file first. Years, if not decades. That's how long Schiff says it'll take to fix the Justice Department. Decades. Translation? He wants the old weaponized DOJ back. the one that hunted school board parents. Then he goes after President Trump's attorney general. Oh, here are the receipts, folks. Here are the receipts. Let's get at them. Schiff admits Trump's family subpoenas are very likely. Here he is. There's a lot to unpack here, folks, so let's dive in now.
I'm not sure I remember which two these were. I do remember a third. I'll tell you about the third. But the first two that came up to me said, you can't let them see you, meaning the rioters. And the other said, that's right, I know these people, I can talk to these people, I can talk my way through these people. You're in a whole different category. And at first I was touched by their evident concern for my safety. But my next reaction was, if you sons of bitches hadn't been lying about the election, I wouldn't have to worry about my safety. None of us would.
Yeah. So, same forum, Schiff gets asked how far he'd take the subpoenas for members of Trump's family.
Well, I think that's very possible and very likely, given the nature of what's been alleged. And it wouldn't be oversight involving his family just for the sake of doing oversight of his family. It would be only oversight of members of his family if there is credible evidence that they were engaged in conduct that violates the interests of the country, the laws of our country, that involves corruption.
That's never stopped you before. Never stopped you before, Adam, pencil neck. And he goes after the ethics language. He's fighting to jam into the crypto bill, says Trump is lying about being treated differently, saying Trump made a false claim.
I saw the president recently was asked about the ethics language that I've been fighting to get into any market structure bill overseeing crypto. And the president making the false claim to reporters that they want to treat me differently than everybody else. No, actually, the problem for him is we want to treat him the same as everybody else. He wants to be treated differently. He doesn't want ethics rules to apply to him. And they should apply to him, and they should apply to his kids.
Oh, Adam, we all know too well about your two-tiered system of justice, so don't play us for fools. And here's where he takes it next: the $400 million jet from Qatar, and the quote Saudi billions in Jared Kushner's fund. He says the public cannot know where his decisions are being made from.
They should apply to him, and they should apply to his kids, just like they should apply to anyone and their family if they're engaged in corrupt conduct. We simply don't know, when this administration is making decisions of foreign policy, are they with the best interests of the public in mind, or are they because the president got a $400 million jet from Qatar? Are we making decisions vis-a-vis Saudi Arabia because they're in the best interest of the country, or because the Saudis are investing billions in Jared Kushner's investment fund, or because they've invested billions in Trump properties or crypto enterprises or that of their kids?
Yes, he's building a foundation right now, guys. He's building the case on C-SPAN. There's simply no way of knowing. No way of knowing. Yeah, he closes by saying no one is excluded from oversight.
There is simply no way of knowing, and to protect the country, we really do need to know. So I would say no one is excluded. No one is included just because of who they are, whose family they're in.
Sure. What about Pelosi? Does her last name change anything? Here we go. He names his top target, and it's not the family. It's the Justice Department itself.
I would prioritize the corruption that we have seen within the Justice Department itself. And maybe that's because I come out of the Justice Department. I have a certain reverence for that department. But also because I think the damage to that department has been the most wide scale of all the agencies. Really certainly things like USAID have been devastated.
Oh.
But it will take years, if not decades, to restore the reputation of the Department for independence.
Oh, yeah. The only people who ruined the reputation of the Department of Defense was the Biden administration, sir. Yeah, nice try. Nice effort there on projection. Okay, so then he calls the that weaponization fund a slush fund for cop beaters.
But that department continues to do great damage. So in the case of the slush fund for cop beaters, that's $1.776 billion of taxpayer money. That's a direct cost to taxpayers if that is allowed to go on. The president today was asked about it. He said, well, that'll be up to Todd Blanche.
Good. Sounds good to me. Let Todd Blanche call the shots there. He says he's got no confidence in Blanche, though.
I could see a scenario, for example, where instead of resurrecting that particular slush fund, they simply use other funds of the Justice Department to pay off people who attacked the Capitol on behalf of the president. Indeed, they've already started to use something called the Judgment Fund and the Federal Tort Claims Act to pay off some of the president's cronies.
Oh, his cronies getting paid off from DOJ money. I mean, I guess it takes one to know one, right? I mean, he probably knows exactly how to do that. Not saying anyone over there is doing it, but then he goes after one name in particular, Michael Flynn.
Enablers, people like Mike Flynn, who you might remember as the erstwhile national security advisor for Trump in the first term, until it was discovered that he had lied to the FBI about contacts he'd had with the Russians and pled guilty twice to lying to the Russians when the administration intervened and basically dismissed a case in which the defendant already pled guilty, which is quite extraordinary. But now the Trump administration, in its second iteration, has gone further and has paid off with your money, with taxpayer money, $1.25 million to Michael Flynn.
Good. Michael Flynn deserves it. Oh, and those guilty charges, those guilty pleas, I'm sure they were more like plea deals, right? That's probably, I mean, I haven't spoken to Michael Flynn about this. Maybe you guys can enlighten me in the comments, but my hunch is that they forced him to plead guilty so that he could have a lighter sentence or whatever. Enlighten me, fellows, in the comments, please. So what does he want done about it, though?
So we're seeing those payoffs take place outside of the public view and outside of this particular slush fund. But I think investigating how they're abusing taxpayer dollars at the Justice Department, looking into this corrupt IRS supposed settlement, issues like that warrant thorough investigation by a Democratic
House, Democratic Senate. That's what you get if these guys regain control again. Non-stop. Have you had enough of this guy in this segment right here? Well, get ready. We lose the midterms. This guy's going to be doing it all again. He's going to be on every single channel, and he's not going to shut up. So he's telling us. This is an advertisement on why we need to win the midterms. But of course, President Trump was asked about the man behind all of it, and he didn't hold back.
Mr. President. We want Adam Schiff brought to justice. I would love to see him brought to justice. I'll tell you what, I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice. He's a dishonest, crooked guy. I don't know about the individual charge, if that even happens. But Adam Schiff is a serious lowlife.
He is a serious lowlife. So Republican senators, they walked over to Adam Schiff on January 6th and told him, hide, stay safe. And here's the thanks they got. Quote, if you sons of bitches hadn't been lying about the election, I wouldn't have to worry about my safety. End quote. Men tried to shield him, and he called them sons of bitches on camera. That's the man that's asking for your subpoena power. So answer the question, Adam. What's the evidence? Not the allegation you made, not the $400 million jet line you tossed in the air. Evidence. He doesn't have it, folks. He never had it. Back in April, director John Ratcliffe said flat out that Schiff covertly conspired with the fake whistleblower to overthrow a sitting president. And here he is again, same playbook, new targets. So understand what every House race is now. It is a referendum on whether Adam Schiff gets a gavel and a subpoena pad. Say it twice to anybody who will listen. Share this video with every patriot you know. Drop me a comment and tell me if you think he actually goes after the Trump's grandkids' trust funds. Because I think he does. And this is exactly the kind of thing the press pool will never hand you straight. So Schiff just read his revenge list into the C-SPAN record. And this is why you want our lane instead of theirs. Text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network is credentialed inside that building. And what our people pull from the halls hits your phone nightly ahead of the crowd, past whatever YouTube feels like burying. Now, plenty of you don't want a briefing. You want a job. Then text the word signal to the very same number on your screen and enlist in the Next News Signal Corps, where patriots get assignments instead of articles and keep the truth moving with nobody standing at the gate. So get in tonight. All right, going back to our chat. What's up, chat? Who's in the house? Mrs. Potty, Kenny, Dawn Holder, Vicky, Lynn, Farbe, Quend, Emma Bitix, Boot Doge, please. What? Ocean breathes salty in the house. What's up? We got our Rumblers, we got our Xers, we got our YouTubers. Where's our Facebookers? We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. Where are you guys? Watch it on Facebook. Shout it out. What platform? Okay, we got more news. Oh, strange things happening at MSNBC. We're going to dive into that. You know, we got this the ugly head of communism. You know, it's the worst we've ever seen it. The White House messaging is making it clear. This nation is under communist threat right now. They're trying to soft sell it to us as socialism or democratic socialists of America. I mean, that's really a Democrat problem, and they're the ones infiltrating that party. But it's a bigger problem if they win. Okay, so this message tonight's all about winning in the midterms so we can squash this tumor, this cancerous growth that is infiltrating the Democrat Party. Okay, what was that quote from Ronald Reagan? Communism would come to this country wrapping itself in an American flag. I'm paraphrasing, but I think you guys get the point. That's where we're at right now. So let's get at it, Brian. William Lawrence called black Democrats pillars of imperialism who defang the white left. A Democrat socialist said that out loud. Then he stood in Lansing and gave us this quote, "I chose my words poorly, and some people got unhappy about that." That's the apology. Chuck Schumer silent, Hakeem Jeffries silent, and the man who finally shamed them, of all places, works at MSNBC. Quote, "We actually have the power to expand or shrink the court's composition." That's California Democrat Randy Villegas, DSA endorsed, invoking, quote, roughly the 100-year anniversary of FDR and demanding, quote, every tool possible at our disposal. Court packing, said with a smile. Now think about this for just a moment. Lawrence in Michigan, Villegas in California, same organization, and the party leadership won't name either one. So here's what I'm going to roll for you next. Joe Scarborough, right, on MSNBC saying Democrats are, quote, too woke to call out the obvious. And telling Schumer and Jeffries by name to call it despicable. Randy Villegas wants to expand the Supreme Court. And men like him are on ballots in California and Michigan right now, which tells you exactly just how wild the next few months are going to be. We got the midterm elections coming up, with control of Congress on the line. And markets hate uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds volatility. This could be the most volatile stretch for stock markets and economy we've seen in years. So here's the good news. Noble Gold Investments has spent over a decade helping everyday Americans protect your wealth with precious metals, physical gold and silver you hold, to hedge the volatility. Simple, easy, safe. Go to nextnewsgold.com or just call that number, 877-646-5347. When you call Noble Gold, it's very important. Mention my name. Not just so you're supporting our network or me, but you're going to get a free 10-ounce silver bar for America's 250th birthday. That's if you open a new qualified account. Look at that beautiful thing. Man, I want to hold one of those. 10 ounces of silver. Good, I love it. Anyway, don't let Election Day arrive without a plan. Now let's get back to Lansing. Quote, I don't give a damn about a white left. That's what Lawrence said out loud in his own cleanup attempt. That's the walk back. You're going to listen to it. He doubles down mid-apology and then hides behind people. Quote, here in Lansing, know my record. Oh, we do now. And let's show you the receipts, huh? Let's do that. Democrat socialist William Lawrence tries to walk back his disgusting attack on black Democrats. This is from RNC Research. Called pillars of imperialism who defang the white left. I don't give a damn about the white left, he says.
And in that context, I made a poor choice of words. In particular, I don't give a damn about a white left. I'm here to build a multiracial progressive movement and a multiracial democracy that lives up to our highest promises. But I chose my words poorly, and so some people got unhappy about that. And I understand, especially out of context, it might be of concern. But people here in Lansing know my record.
Yeah, people here in Lansing know my record. He says he chose his words poorly. Out in California, Democrat socialist Randy Villegas isn't walking anything back. He wants to pack the Supreme Court. He is endorsed by the Democrat Socialists of America.
Wants to know, what is your position on Supreme Court reform? Because the Supreme Court has done a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting as we approach, roughly the 100-year anniversary of FDR and what he fought for, and how he had the courage to stare down the Supreme Court when they were trying to strike down some of his New Deal policies. I believe that we need reform on the Supreme Court, and as Congress, we actually have the power to expand or shrink the court's composition. And I think we need to use every tool possible at our disposal to make sure that we have a court that's actually more balanced and that's not stacked against us in everything we try to do, whether that is Supreme Court term limits, whether that is expansion, or setting specific limits on how long Supreme Court justices can serve. I'm pretty open to any and all tools possible that we need to do in order to act change throughout our country. And I think we as Democrats need to be willing to do that and say that and fight for it, because we're not dealing with any administration in this moment. We're dealing with an administration that will literally do anything they can, an overreach of executive power to try and harm our communities.
Yeah, well, you see, the executive branch, the President of the United States, gets to appoint those Supreme Court judges. And if they just happen to retire or die in the middle of a term where we have a Republican president, he's going to pick people who are constitutionalists, not people who rewrite the Constitution, who believe it's a living, breathing document. No, the only time you can change a Constitution is with a constitutional amendment. And that hasn't been done in a long time. So, listen, dude, spare us. All of that, there's a process. It's already in place. You just got to get in power. And we know how you guys do it, right? Mail-in ballots in the middle of the night, showing up by the truckload. Whatever tool it takes. Meanwhile, Joe Scarborough says he won't stay quiet about people claiming women on October 7th didn't matter.
I don't need people telling me, oh, you have to just turn a blind eye to people saying that women getting raped on October 7th didn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. So he's not done. Says Democrats are fumbling the football on the 2-yard line too woke to call out the obvious.
This is about the Democrats, once again, fumbling the football on the 2-yard line when they have a chance to make great gains, but being so woke, I don't know if you want to call it woke 1, woke 2, or woke 3, but being too woke to call out the obvious.
Even Scarborough knows that wokeism is a cancer. Oh, man. The guy sharpens it next. He says it's okay to call him out.
If somebody says a woman being raped doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, it's okay to call that person out and demand that candidates distance themselves.
I wonder who he's talking about. Could he be talking about Graham Plattner? Or Eric Swallowswell, maybe? Then he goes after Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries.
If you want to rule over a party and win elections. If somebody says going to a rally the day after Hamas slaughters more Jews than any time since the Holocaust, it's okay for Chuck Schumer. It's okay for Hakeem Jeffries to call that despicable and demand that people distance themselves from that.
Okay. So he ties it straight back to 2024 when Democrats couldn't get out of their own way in an election they should have won. An awful lot like what was happening in 24.
So why are we bringing this up now? We're bringing this up now because it seems an awful lot like what was happening in 2024 when Democrats couldn't get out of their own way to win an election they should have won.
To extend your metaphor, the Democrats have the ball at the 2-yard line. Now they have to call the right play. And there are ways they could botch this. There's no question there. Getting at the ball at the 2 doesn't mean you're going to score. Seattle Seahawks about a decade ago in a Super Bowl is evidence of that. So this is where Democrats are, and that's why there is such scrutiny. It is understandable why there's such energy on the left, and we've just gone through all the reasons why. There's a lot of energy there. People are tired. People are sick. People
Love the football metaphors, guys. Love it. From MSNBC's warning to AOC's history lesson, she says black Americans really created democracy, though. They're the ones. That's AOC, of course, who's afraid of her own garbage disposal.
Think about the civil rights and voting rights movement and how black Americans really created democracy in this country.
Right. That's exactly right.
How they literally made something from nothing. It is just beyond me.
It is beyond you. It's over your head, girl. Go make me a drink. She says she thinks about how Native people survived.
I think about how, Native people have survived and preserved and treasured their culture.
Oh, yeah. She's checking off all the diversity boxes right now. And then about the Americans, our immigrants.
I think about, and I think many of us think about immigrants, which if you aren't from one of those first two populations, you are certainly from largely the third. And so many of us have our story of our parents, our grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. And who come and make something from nothing. And I think that's a big part of also the most inspiring.
It's inspiring, isn't it? It's inspiring when people come here legally and they make something from nothing. Like my relatives did generations ago when they came here from Italy. My other relatives came over on the Mayflower. All right? They fought in the Revolutionary War. They fought in the Civil War. Okay? So I've got fiery Italian blood, and I have deep-rooted Irish blood as well that fought for this nation. at Kings Mountain, the turning point of the Revolutionary War. Look it up. Get a history lesson. Yeah, so they made something from nothing. They made a nation out of nothing. I don't know what she's talking about here, about black people making democracy. I thought democracy started in Greece. That's where my wife hails from. So I think we know a thing or two about starting from nothing, especially in my bloodline, AOC. But the thing we got with Joe Scarborough, well, I mean, he was on a tear, wasn't he? Quote, if somebody says a woman being raped doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, it's okay to call that person out. That's Joe Scarborough on MSNBC begging Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries to do the bare minimum, and they still won't do it. When the hostile witness has to shame you into condemning October 7th apologists, the radicals aren't renting space in your party, they hold the deed. Name them Chuck Schumer, name them Hakeem Jeffries, say William Lawrence's name, say Randy Villegas' name, or own every word both of them said. There's no third option. And their silence has already answered for them. And don't wait for these people to clean their own house. Scarborough just spent 5 minutes on their network proving they can't. So we do it at the ballot box. California, Michigan, every district where a DSA planted flag is. Now share this with a friend who still thinks socialists are a fringe caucus. Drop a comment naming the Democrat in your state who refuses to disavow this, and subscribe, because we have been building this brick by brick and we're not even close to being done. Lawrence's fake apology, though, in Lansing, that is the kind of clip that vanishes from your feed by the morning. So let's get around that. Text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network holds credentials inside that building. The reports are people pull from the halls land on your phone nightly, independent of whatever this platform decides you're allowed to see, including the material that never fit in the segment. Now, some of you are past reading. You want to post, right? You want action. We'll just text signal to that very same number. Enlist in the Next News Signal Corps. Real missions, real ranks, and a distribution grid built so losing one channel never takes us off the air. And I need you right now in this fight. All right, chat. You tell me. You tell me, Pothead Kenny, Dawn, Mama Missy, Irish blood, what's up? Pothead Kenny, Dawn, Mama Missy, Miss Pothead, F&A Ranger. Good to see you guys all in the house, lining up the chat. Light it up, chat. Light it up. It's a late night at the Next News Network, and we're live on X, Trump Daily Posts, Next News, Rumble, Twitch, Facebook, and of course on YouTube. So we're going to be talking about what's going on over in South Carolina right now. Let's get into that, because the Save America Act is on the line, and we're going to see how we can get that advanced, if we can. A lot of roadblocks right now. The establishment's fighting tooth and nail, folks. Tooth and nail. They don't want election integrity because they want to keep stealing elections. Republicans and Democrats. Don't be fooled. There's a reason you have Republicans who are just refusing to step up. Oh, you think only one side cheats? Come on. Now, I think one side cheats more than the other. These are all just allegations. It's all my gut. Do you hashtag what's up? $20. Great to see you. The trebuchet from DC Coliseum. Love it. All right, so let's get into it. Thank you for making that announcement, Brian. Triggering that. I did see that. Host, what are your thoughts on American society? Well, my name is Gary. G. Huiliu 311067. I love American society. I love my nation. I love my republic, for which it stands, one nation under God. And that's why this network, that's why this channel, that's why these reports exist, is to preserve that very fabric of our society. Oh, Aussie girl, what's up? I bet Facebook doesn't show your videos. Well, you know what's weird? My Facebook page for Next News Network has been unable to post any videos at all. We got like 50 some odd thousand people there. But people steal my content and they make a fake Next News profile on Facebook and they upload everything there. And then they build up like 1 million followers and then they monetize the channel. And then, you know, it's probably like some bot farm in India. What is the ideology of this government? That's a good question. I don't think you can really pin it. Which government? Who? The Christmas help or the deep state? Which one are we talking about? Anyway, we got to get into our next topic, so I appreciate your chat. Good to see you. Free Diddy. Yeah. Save Ferris, actually, I think is more appropriate. All right. Quote, I was one of the few that wanted to stay there to get that done. That's Darlene Graham. She said that standing outside her polling place in South Carolina today. The few. A senator, 3 weeks on the job, wanted to stay in Washington and finish the SAVE Act, the Save America Act. Well, the rest of the chamber grabbed their luggage. And guess what? She is ready to torch the filibuster over it. That's what we need. So we're talking about 6,600 non-citizens. We've talked about this. They sat on the New Jersey voter rolls and nobody in the Senate lost a night of sleep over it. Now that same Senate is on recess with the Save America Act unfinished. The bill that Ilhan Omar thanked Republican senators for blocking. We're talking about photo ID, proof of citizenship, limits on mail-in ballots, all of it parked. And Graham is the vote. Now stick with me because I'm going to roll you the moment President Trump gets told on air he can declare an election's national security emergency under a 1983 Supreme Court ruling. And what he says back is just 5 words. Now, talking about Darlene Graham. She said she wanted to stay in Washington and finish the work while everybody else grabbed their luggage. And stamina like that, it's not luck, it's actually cellular. Studies show your mitochondria are the batteries that power everything. And when they run down, fatigue and slow healing follow. And that is why red and near infrared light therapy is one of the most well-researched tools out there. Now, I dug into the science alongside health journalist Jonathan Otto. I use red light myself, thanks to Jonathan and my family. It helps cells produce more energy, reduces cellular level stress, and supports natural repair processes. 9 clinically studied wavelengths, dual chip technology, twice the power of standard devices. I've got a big panel in my guest room, and I got a small panel on my desk, so I use it when I work. I've even got a belt. It's amazing. These devices are solid. They're built to work. Go to myredlight.com/NNN. Use code NNNREP25 for individual items, NNNREP30 for bundles. That's 30% off bundles, 25% off individual devices. Stock is limited. Link in the description below. Now, about that Senate recess, folks. 3 weeks in office, and Darlene Graham moved the Russia Sanctions Act right through the Senate, and cast the deciding vote confirming Todd Blanche as Attorney General. 3 weeks in. Career Republicans can't manage that in 3 terms. And now watch her own words on the seat itself, because the humility, it caught me off guard. Trump endorsed Darlene Graham. Just voted in the South Carolina primary and went full force in favor of no recess.
You were a private citizen. What was it like to see your name on the ballot today? And I'm also curious, is there anybody particularly you'd like to see in a row?
It was a little different seeing my name on the ballot. Affordability is a #1 issue, definitely for me. Helping President Trump get his agenda passed. I'm eager to get back to get the Save America Act passed. I was one of the few that wanted to stay there to get that done. So I think those are some issues that are really important. Affordability.
Senator, you've had a lot of people who are making comparisons. They're trying to put you in a bucket. Either, are aligning with President Trump this way or with Lindsey Graham on this way. As somebody who is asking South Carolinians for 6 years in the U.S. Senate, what's maybe one or two things that you want to accomplish by the end of those 6 years that is apart from Donald Trump and apart from Lindsey Graham is something that you are passionate about?
Well, I think we just spoke about affordability. I think that's really important to South Carolinians. The rising cost of health care is extremely important.
Newsflash, Lindsey Graham is not dead. Just transitioned. Okay, sorry, dark humor. All right. Same answer, different camera. Pulse Millennial catches Graham naming affordability, pivoting straight back to the Save America Act.
Senator, question for you. Who's watching voters go in and out of voice just like you? In this crowded ticket, is there a number one issue you think that will separate the two crowd and make it work?
I think affordability is a number one issue, definitely for me. Helping President Trump get his agenda passed. I'm eager to get back to get the Save America Act passed. I was one of the few that wanted to stay there to get that done. So I think those are some issues that are really...
Affordability is number one.
Affordability. The reports keep trying to box her in Trump lane, Lindsey Graham lane. Here's her answer on working with anybody without compromising conservative values.
Senator, you've got a lot of people who are making comparisons. They're trying to put you in a bucket. Either, you are aligning with President Trump this way or with Lindsey Graham on this way. As somebody who is asking South Carolinians for 6 years in the U.S. Senate, what's maybe one or two things that you want to accomplish by the end of those 6 years that is apart from Donald Trump and apart from Lindsey Graham and is something that you are passionate about?
Well, I think we just spoke about affordability. I think that's really important to South Carolinians. The rising cost of health care is extremely important. But I've said before, I will work with anybody to get things passed for South Carolina, to help South Carolinians. I will not compromise my conservative values. But President Trump or anybody, I will work with them to help South Carolina.
Two more questions.
So real quick here, an update. So the race to replace Lindsey Graham heading to a runoff. That's 3 hours ago. Joint Base Charleston renamed for late Senator Lindsey Graham in ceremony with Pete Hegseth. That was 24 hours ago. New Republic says Lindsey Graham's sister insists she isn't a Nepo senator. Darlene Graham opens up about running for her late brother's Senate seat. Trump and Darlene Graham host joint tele rally ahead of that primary. So we got some more here. Let's keep digging. Then comes the experience, 3 weeks in the Senate, and she's listing the Russia Sanctions Act.
Senator Graham, what do you say about folks that are concerned about your lack of experience?
I think I have some really good experience. I've worked for 30 years for the state of South Carolina. I ran a state agency. I turned it from a struggling agency into a national model. I think that's great experience to bring to the table. Critical thinking skills, ability to lead and make good decisions. So I think I have excellent experience.
Senator, we've been talking to voters yesterday and today about the election. We've heard from some that they're skeptical of your candidacy because you don't have a proven track record of being able to get things done in Washington. What would be your response to those voters?
Well, I was there 3 weeks and I got the Russia Sanctions Act passed through the Senate. I was the deciding vote on Todd Blanche for Attorney General, so I think I've accomplished a whole lot in 3 weeks.
Okay, listen. When she keeps going, when any politician just goes, the affordability talking point, like, it just sounds cheap. It sounds kind of used. So is that really where, like, oh, you're there 3 weeks, you did some things, you were appointed, you're gonna, continue the momentum, probably carry the same votes that your brother was doing. Okay. I just want to see, this runoff. I want the best candidate to win. I don't just want somebody who has Lindsey Graham's DNA. Okay. Trump endorser or not, doesn't matter. Okay. I was at Mar-a-Lago when Lindsey Graham was brought on stage and heard the entire room groan and boo. All right, so don't think that Lindsey Graham's got a lot of fans, even in Trump's house. Okay? I was sitting there with Jim Jordan, Roger Stone, a whole cast of congressional candidates and everybody. And he walks on stage, people groan. So I want the best. I want the best candidate to win. Senate's on recess. Wayne Root tells President Trump there's another way. Declare a national security emergency. This is what I think you've been waiting for.
Because it's so hard to get the Senate to do anything, now they're on recess, they don't get anything done if they never get the Save America Act done. You have the right to declare a national security emergency for elections. And the Supreme Court ruled in 1983 under Reagan that INS versus Chadha, that if you declare a national security emergency as the President of the United States, they can't challenge it. It can only be overturned by a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So if you do this in the next month, we will get photo ID, proof of citizenship, and a limit to mail-in ballots, and you don't even need the Senate vote.
Happened. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. So let me finish with a couple things. Dr. Fauci, can't you challenge the auto pen? You should challenge in court
we are doing
the auto pen.
We are doing.
You are doing it. Okay,
well,
good.
What has to happen? I mean, I've become an expert on the auto pen thing.
Wayne Root, right out the gate, instructing President Trump. He's like, stranger things have happened. Declare a national emergency. Can you imagine what would happen if President Trump declared a national election emergency? Oh my goodness. The screams will be heard from every suburban household to urban America. Oh, it will be, MSNBC, CNN, the weeping and gnashing of teeth will be upon this nation. The rabid left will lose their freaking minds. Oh, yes, they will. But stranger things have happened, apparently. Stranger things. That's the pressure from the outside. Now the mechanics. Republicans back at the polls for the second time. 2 months. In 2 months to fill Lindsey Graham's seat, Republican voters return to the polls. And now we know that the runoff, she's in that running. Now she's talking about her campaign schedule.
It's been a brutal campaign schedule, so we'll see what it looks like in 2 weeks, but what I can tell you is I want to get out, I want to meet as many people as possible, I really want to work hard to get to know people and what they want.
It'll be interesting to see that last name carries her all the way. A reporter asked about people saying she's been handed the seat.
Senator, what did you say to folks that are saying that you're just being handed this?
I don't see it that way. I'm not being handed the seat. I realize that I have to earn voters. So I'm working really hard.
Well, you were handpicked, so you were handed the seat. Now you've got to keep the seat, and that's where the voters come in. So technically, yes, you were handed it, but we want the best politician, the best American patriot to take that seat. So she's not just rejecting it. Here she is on Lindsey Graham himself.
You know, Lindsey was amazing. I will never fill his shoes. No one can ever fill his shoes. And I don't just expect it to be handed to me. I know, again, that I have to earn people's votes, and I'm willing to work.
You know, it is sad. You know, a human life has been lost. Lindsey Graham is gone. Like him or not, you know, she does have some pretty big shoes to fill. Her reason for wanting the job is another, not for self-ambition, she says, and not for power.
I know, again, that I have to earn people's votes, and I'm willing to work really hard over the next 2 weeks to get out to earn those votes. I want to work hard every single day for the people in South Carolina. That's why I want to do this, not to be a politician, not for self-ambition, not for power.
Okay. Time will tell. How often are you thinking about your brother? She says, I think about my brother every single day. Lindsey quote was amazing. I will never fill his shoes. I don't just expect it to be handed to me. That is the woman the Senate's old guard sneers about for lack of experience. 30 years for the state of South Carolina. Ran a state agency, turned it from a struggling into a national model. She wanted to stay and work. Mitch McConnell's Senate wanted the beach. So come off recess, kill the filibuster, pass the bill, or walk out and explain to America why Ilhan Omar keeps sending your caucus thank you notes. That's the demand. It's not complicated. The filibuster is a Senate rule. Elections are the country. Anybody who guards the rule while non-citizens sit on the rolls just told you which one he loves. So call your senator tonight, ask him one question. Write it down. Were you one of the few who stayed? Or are you on vacation? Then drop the answer in the comments because I want the names. Share this with the people who think this fight ended in July. And subscribe because President Trump was handed a 1983 precedent on live television and he didn't say no. You see, Darlene Graham says she's eager to get back. And I'm eager for you to get what I see from inside the building that she's fighting for. Text White House to this number, 844-840-4963, and our nightly report pulled from the halls that were credentialed and lands on your phone before YouTube's ranking system ever gets a vote on it. And reading it is only step one. Step two is being useful. Text the word signal to that very same number and you are enlisted in the next news signal corps. Real missions, real ranks, a command center that moves with the legacy press smothers. Come get your assignment tonight. All right, folks, that is a wrap for this edition of the Gary Franchi Show. How about that? We'll call it the Gary Franchi Show. I was actually in a meeting this morning, and that came up. Why don't you just call it the Gary Franchi Show? Well, the only reason I never called it the Gary Franchi Show is because that's not about me. I'm not here to pump my chest and blast my name and accept any accolades. We have a fight ahead of us. So calling it the Gary Franchi Show is sort of like, I don't know. I mean, I understand like the concept of it. You know, it's more closely branded for me specifically, and it helps with the visibility. But maybe that's what we'll do. I don't want to keep saying, welcome to the Gary Franchi Show. I'm not going to do it. It might be on the screen. It might be on a playlist. You know, we did have the raw feed for about a year or so. That was fun. Now we're back doing these lives for you guys so you can hang out with me. We got a new shorts format that we've just rolled out. We're streaming vertically and horizontally. We're sending out the signals for you guys to take action, no longer just be passive viewers. After that brief moment of blackout where we boycotted YouTube, a lot of great things came out of that moment. And sometimes you got to just turn everything off and listen to nothing. Or that still small voice that will guide you. Because that is how we win. When we listen. So, make sure you get out there, folks. Make sure you vote in the midterms like your nation depends on it. I know they always say that this is the most consequential election of our generation. It's like you hear it all the time. But this time, it's serious. Because if we lose, it is over. Flat out over, guys. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that the message gets out to you, make sure the message is heard by as many people as possible. That's why the Signal Corps exists. So make sure you're enlisted. Some housekeeping notes regarding my schedule. Not sure if we will have a show tomorrow night. I've got a big load-in for a big event in Chicago. That is in the morning. Depends on my schedule if I'm able to come back and assemble our news for the day. And then Thursday, we're going to try and get an earlier show in. Friday I will not be in studio. So if you want to check out what's happening in Rosemont this weekend, you'll get a good idea of what I'm doing. And it rhymes with DeLorean. I love you guys. So we'll see you at the next show. Good night, and God bless.